Hey, welcome back, everybody. It's time to meet our community, the Hispanic business community here in Orange County. Powered by the Orange County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and Orange County's only community radio station, OC Talk Radio. Streaming live from our studios here at the University of California, Irvine's Beale Applied Innovation Center. And today, well, we've got an old favorite of mine. I've frequented this place. We're all going to start singing the song. I think we got the YMCA with us today. Right?
Thank you, Paul. And thank you, OC Talk Radio, for having us again. Welcome to our community podcast show powered by the Orange County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. I'm your host, Senior Vice President here, John Gutierrez. Again, we have another special guest with us today, Mr. Brent Finlay, who is the President and CEO at Anaheim Family YMCA. Welcome, Mr. Finlay.
John, thank you so much. Great to be here. Really my pleasure.
Well, let me tell you, we were sitting here talking before the show, and there's a lot of just great things the YMCA, as we all know, is not only has done, but is currently doing in the community. And we're going to get into all of that. We're going to get into all the great programs that the YMCA is doing and how they've become a partner, of course, of our chamber. But we wanted a little bit to get to know a little bit about you. We like our listeners to get to know, who is Brent Finlay? How did you get to this situation or this position? Can you share with us a little bit about you, sir?
Yeah, no. I think it all goes back to, I grew up playing sports growing up in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, very active, playing sports year round. Hockey ended up kind of being my game. When you're under 5'11", you're not going to play basketball very long. So, yeah, a sports life growing up, very involved in our family. My siblings, all very, very athletically
So you're
oriented.
very competitive.
That's extremely competitive, but I've learned how to lose many, many decades ago. But I still keep trying to put my best foot forward. But I think it maybe goes back to a sophomore year in high school career fair that I went to, and they was, what are you guys going to do with yourselves? What do you want to be? And I remember zeroing in. You know what? I think I'd like to be a high school coach, be it soccer, be it hockey, and be an exercise physiologist, PE teacher. So that was kind of my career path. And I went to college, and did my undergrad in biology and PE at the University of North Dakota.
Nice.
And continued on to grad school in exercise science. And so it was upon really my time at the University of North Dakota that I was introduced to the local Y in Grand Forks, North Dakota. And I was doing internships, field credit, part-time work there, learned all about the Y career and pathway. And it was probably the director that took me under his wing as an early mentor, and really kind of laid the foundation for what the Y career could be and would be. So that's, I think, kind of how I got my start into the Y. With grad school coming past, I entered the Y full-time career pathway wise as a fitness director with the Midland Metropolitan Y in Midland, Texas. And so that's where it all started, and now here today with the great Anaheim Family YMCA for the last 18 months.
That's awesome. So would you say your parents played a major role in your life as far as you were growing up? Because I'm sure you see this a lot in the Y, right? Some kids do have their parents involved. Some parents are not as involved, right? Or some parents are just working a lot. Growing up as a child, I mean, does that resonate with you as far as now, obviously as a CEO and helping the community, you remember how your parents were involved or maybe not involved with you? Mm-hmm. Is there a connection there?
Oh, I think there's an incredible correlation. Our parents were very involved in our lives. Coaches, assistant coaches, putting in a lot of miles in that old station wagon with the wood panel sides to get us to.
I remember those
games.
My dad had one of those.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. There you go. You know that look you kind of hid when you got out of the car. You didn't want to be seen next to that car, but hey, it got you to the game.
They called my dad's truck the station wagon. I remember that.
Yeah.
The station wagon. I'm sorry. They called it the stove, because it was so, in Espanol they call it estufa. And ahí viene la estufa, the stove is coming, because it was this big truck, and I remember us getting in an accident. It was the best thing ever because we were protected.
You were safe all the way.
You were safe. So growing up, you were this very competitive, and so you're saying your parents were very involved in supporting you guys.
Oh, they were there every step of the way. Without their influence, without their guidance, certainly even educationally, and really revered education and hard work. So, those early, I think, lessons in life came from my parents. Work your hardest, do your best, and try to do a little better tomorrow. But and you're right. I think you've hit the nail on the head. There's so many families that we serve that I've seen over decades of Y work. work where there's only one parent. There's again a family that's challenged for time and resources, and having again maybe having two parents involved in helping raise children. And so certainly I'm have great gratitude for the role that my parents played in my life growing up, and I am today certainly well because of that, without a shadow of a doubt.
That's great to hear. One of the things that we were talking about when you arrived here at the show is, even though you're in Anaheim, that's your corporate office, and you serve several other cities in the area. Can you share that with us about those cities, please?
Yeah, we do serve really a wide area of the northern part of the county, but our offices and our brand new YMCA community complex is in Anaheim, but we serve parts of Buena Park, all of Cypress, La Palma, and Stanton. So 600,000 plus populations is a big, large
600,000 wow.
of people to serve in a variety of YMCA programs, and so that's always on our radar. But we originated in Anaheim, but we're not only for Anaheim residents. 85% of our program participants are coming from Anaheim, but we are seeing kids participate in our programs from communities, just as I mentioned, but even some coming in from Whittier and Yorba Linda. I think quality programs are something families are looking for, and so if we're doing our job well, the word of the mouth gets out there that, hey, the Y is the place to be for youth sports or childcare or summer camps, aquatics, gymnastics. We run so many different programs in all the various areas of that 5-city community space.
I think that a lot of parents that are probably listening right now can easily say thank you, to the YMCA, because it serves such a huge platform of, hey, I can leave my child somewhere that's safe, which says a lot, right? A place that's safe. They're learning something. There's a positive. There's great mentors there, right? Obviously, these are your employees or your staff or volunteers that are helping out. Share with us a little bit about some of the, I know you mentioned the Anaheim programs. I know I've heard of the Anaheim Achieves after-school program, which is a huge program going on since 1998.
Correct, 1998. We serve every day 5,000 plus children on the blacktops of 36 different schools within the school districts that we're serving. So exactly as you noted, the families are looking for a quality after school time experience for their kids.
A safe place too.
100% safe.
Yeah.
Great staff that really care about kids, and they know it. It's not just a job. They are changing lives. They get a chance to work with these kids 5 days a week, and we hope that these children are, they're with us for a reason till 6 o'clock. Yeah, school breaks, and there's so much that goes into the curriculum. It's not just, hey, here's a snack and run around and chase the ball for a couple hours. We have a really well-established curriculum. And again, we've been doing this in the after-school space since 1998. Around the nation, the YMCA's collectively serve over 700,000 children after school every day. So it's a real large...
700,000 children.
Collectively. So
wow.
You would say childcare is a big part of the Y. And we branded our after-school program Anaheim Achieves when we began. And so think of it, it's the achievement of these children is the center of our programming and what we're all about. So,
but you're also providing a lot of great jobs for people out there, a lot of your employees. What a great place to work. You're making a difference in the community.
Sure, absolutely. And when we attract people to the after school program positions, obviously we want staff that care about kids. They understand that they get a chance to really be an incredible mentor for these kids, where we do hire a number of our after school staff come from the program. So they were in the program as a youth, went on to college or in a 2-year school, and so they're looking for this to be a career in education. So it's a great pathway and a great step to other very important jobs. But again, we have about 250 plus staff in our organization. A lot of our staff are part-time, but the after-school program is obviously our largest concentration of our staff team.
Well, that's good to know for people listening. For those of you, I know we have a lot of our youth chamber out there that listens to us on our show, aside from our members, or even our members, they may have children in college right now. This is a great place to look into for a job opportunity, maybe while you're in college or right out of college, right?
Yeah, in fact, we even hire lifeguards at a younger age than that as well, and skilled instructors that have that gifted ability to showcase their skills, but also be able to articulate that to a young child. If you're teaching 4-year-old, how to dribble a soccer ball, how to control it around cones, it takes obviously a special skill set, but more so that they really want to be with kids, working with kids. So we certainly encourage people to check out our employment page of our website all the time for updates and changes. And we go everywhere. We're in just about any career fair that we can find ourselves with. We're constantly in conversation with our partners to showcase the positions that we have at the Y. And so it's like other organizations that have difficulties the last few years. We've certainly had our share, but I think we have an incredible organization to be a part of as an employee, getting your start, or if it's just a place where you want to be for the rest of your life. I'm really blessed. I've got a team here in Anaheim that average probably 15 to 20 years of experience. And so for me, that was really attractive when I looked at this position, knowing that this team knows it, they get it, they understand our families, our operation, and it lets me focus on some of the higher pillars of the organization. But great staff really is a real driver of quality of all that we do.
And for those of you listening, and he did mention, of course, job opportunities. Definitely, Google YMCA or local, right? Like maybe YMCA in Anaheim.
Yeah, Google Anaheim Family YMCA.
Anaheim Family YMCA, and they can find there the job opportunities and the programs, of course.
Yep, everything that we offer, our special events. We've got a special golf putting classic that's really great for families coming up in a couple of Saturdays here on the 20th. And then we have our golf outing in August where we actually play the longer holes. And so we have a number of special events that is just a great way to bring friends together. And certainly we're raising some very necessary funds to apply to our scholarship assistance so that no child or family is ever turned away due to their inability to pay. And I think that's really a unique element that still people don't know, or maybe have not heard, that the YMCA, obviously works with that individual family on a price for any program, be it a swim lesson, be it a camp, be it membership. So with a sliding fee scale, no one is ever turned away due to their inability to pay. So that's one of our, hallmark statements about our organization.
That's interesting. You bring up the golf. We do a lot of golf charity events. Either we support them through our chamber, or of course we host ours annually every year. We raise, of course, funds for our youth chamber scholarship program. And I know that one of the things that we're trying to get the word out more is more Hispanic kids to learn golf, play golf, because golf is also such a great business, sport, right? When you're out in the business world and you're networking or marketing, you go and do 9 or 18 holes, and you really get to know somebody and do business with them, right? So that's great to hear that this is something that you've implemented at the Y.
Yeah, our golf outing's been around for 25 plus years, and I think not only just as a reason to have another fundraiser. There's obviously a lot of golf outings, but the ability to network, just as you said. You're going to spend 5 hours out walking around with 3 other individuals. What an incredible opportunity is to shed light on what you do and how you do it, and how you can help each other accomplish common goals. But just to that bonding effect is really, really strong.
Now, for those of you that don't know the acronym for the YMCA, it's, from my understanding, Young Men's Christian Association, right?
Well, that's probably the number one definition, John. As we talked earlier, the fundraisers will love this. It's your money cheerfully accepted as YMCA. So
your money cheerfully accepted. And so for those of you listening, you can always look to donate and support your local Y, because that's so important. I mean, as far as everything you're doing in the community with that, I know you have some really cool youth soccer programs, right?
John, we sure do. We jumped into the what I call full-fledged soccer programming about 18 months ago when we opened up the brand new YMCA Community Center on 1422 Broadway Avenue, just a stone's throw out of downtown Anaheim, right off Interstate 5. And before that, for decades, we were running just instructional-based soccer programming, with a concentration of kids aged 4 to 10. So now we built 6 outdoor, state-of-the-art, lighted turf soccer arenas, and so our program has just taken off. The next league that we run our leagues in 10 weeks, so 2 weeks of practice prior to 8-game season. So we run 4 of those. We're running those in 4 times a year now, analogous to our youth basketball program. But 350 kids playing, so it's expanded rapidly, and certainly we all know the game of soccer has continued to grow in this country. The World Cup comes to the United Canada in 2026, so we expect by then, it wouldn't be unlikely for us to have 1,500 kids playing in YMCA soccer. Again, a great sport, not only because of it's very much an inexpensive, family affordable, but again, the group dynamics, the sports leadership, and just an incredible number of virtues and values I think kids can take away if it's applied the right way from sport into life.
Well, I will say soccer, it's just one of those sports where if you think about from a health and wellness standpoint, it's I know I was talking to a doctor the other day, and a lot of kids coming out of the pandemic were dealing with a lot of health and wellness, a lot of anxiety and all this. And so I said, what are you doing to combat this with kids today? And he said, to be honest, he goes, we just have them run. We take them out and they do like cross country or they do some sort of running. And so when you think of soccer from a health and wellness standpoint, it's so good for these kids to get out, get them out of the house, get them off the video games, and let them just run and sweat and hopefully make a nice goal and cheer and yell and scream. And that helps you, right? It helps you from a health and wellness standpoint.
It's an incredible game. And just as you noted on the cardiovascular requirements to play soccer, other than maybe the young lady or young man that's in goal is not moving around quite as much, but
exactly.
Yeah, there's definitely a fitness attainment that comes from playing soccer, even small-sided games to regular 11v11, along with obviously the stop and the start. So there's some explosive work that happens. So there's a strength building piece to that as well. But I think importantly too, the transformational effects that being on a team and the team dynamics and
yes.
Learning from others how to work in a small group or a larger group and how to deal with those individuals that are in coaching roles, or think of coaches as bosses and leaders in organizations. So you learn how to follow certain rules and guidelines. And so I've always been a fan of the sports dynamics that it can be applied into the world that people will move into once they're no longer in their youth years.
I grew up playing more football, basketball, running track as a kid, but later as an adult, we would play soccer with my uncles who were big soccer fanatics, and I would go out in the park, and I didn't realize there's a whole strategy. There's you have to always be in a triangle when you're playing soccer, because that's the passing zone. It's like a constant triangle. So I said to him, man, this is very mathematical geometry, kind of the triangle, In basketball, you had that with Phil Jackson back in the day with the Bulls. And I'm like, I didn't realize there's a certain flow to soccer.
It's just another reason to play sports. It's also, there's an academia side
exactly,
to this, right?
Exactly.
Another application.
So we talked about the soccer, right? We talked about, of course, you mentioned swimming. That's another great component so kids are learning how to swim, and then they're also like sports and swimming. Our focus and concentration from an aquatics perspective is the learn to swim side. Okay.
So we do not have a swim team, a competitive swim team, but we're leading aquatic programming, so swim lessons at 5 area pools. So, in a given year, we're going to be teaching 2,500 to 3,000 kids to begin to learn to swim, be comfortable around water. And we all know there's far too many bodies of water, from rivers, lakes, oceans,
yes.
pools, water parks. So everywhere you go, there's water. So, it's always been one of the aspirations of the YMCA to be America's swim lesson instructor and teacher. So it's one of the things we're known for, gyms and swims. So we talked about soccer and basketball. And, I always like to make a note, too. There's 2 great sports the YMCA is the original inventor of. So basketball, James Naismith. We invented that game in 1891.
That's right.
We still don't get any support from the NBA, or not enough of it, and maybe some small YMCA markets. But that's obviously a great sports story, and how much Americana has received from the game of basketball. But we also invented volleyball in 1895. So not quite the same level of commercialism in America and in the world. But we do know with the Olympics coming in 2028, the Honda Center will host Olympic volleyball, men's and women's volleyball. Hopefully there'll be a special little connection to the Y there, again being the original developer of the game of volleyball.
That's interesting. And let me ask you this from a technological standpoint. I remember also there's probably a lot of computers and technology involved in some of these centers, right?
Yeah. Oh, no question. I mean, if you're talking our after school program,
yes,
we have computers, involved in. Because
I know we do a lot of. We've been talking about a lot of sports, which is great. But there's always those kids that maybe don't play sports or don't want to be involved in sports. But from a technology standpoint, I know that's big right now too, right?
It is. We've our after-school high school and our junior high school level, we have a very, very active, involved eSports program, and so they recently have had competitions.
That's a big thing right now. eSports.
It is
booming.
Unbelievable, and some of the marketing and job pathways that come from eSports. There's now NCAA scholarships in eSports, and I'm learning more about it each and every week. I'm fascinated when I go into a room and I see the competitive, and they're working as a team. It's not they're not actually handing the basketball off to each other, but there's definitely team dynamics and strategies and tactics involved in what they're doing. So again, just another great application. And esports just really came into the world maybe 5-6 years ago, so it's certainly a new horizon.
Paul wanted to say something. Go ahead, Paul.
We have a show on esports called the Esports Connection.
Okay.
And they principally focus on college and community college esports programs, because UCI had the first varsity esports program in the country. Now there are universities all over the country that will offer you a scholarship to go play esports.
Well, it was interesting. A few years back at my high school, at Century High School, it's probably been a good, 8 years already. They built this esports kind of room. Arena, yes.
It's a room with computers.
Yeah, and I went in there and I'm like, what is this, right? And they started sharing with me some of the ideas they had for the future and how they were going to be competing. And it was basically like an after-school sport, like a football, basketball. Or
absolutely.
These are, and but what was really cool is they were eventually going to even involve like where they can earn points and credits, where they can use that to buy some of their own, like kind of like a Bitcoin kind of thing. They can buy their own shoes and things that they want. It was pretty interesting. The whole project behind the whole esports arena.
My 9-year-old grandson may not learn how to dribble a basketball well or throw a football like you did, but he's sure going to be an esports enthusiast because he can move that mouse. He knows how to move and jump, whatever the game is, the shooting game or the playing game. Whatever.
So that's great that the YMCA is tapping into all of this.
Yeah, no, it's been, I think that's one of the real unique dynamic elements in our after school. I mean, we have 600 high school kids that are with us every day, Monday through Friday, and those are kids that could go home at their age. They could be working part-time jobs after school. Certainly some of them will be involved in athletics at the local high school. But this group of 600 collectively at the high schools that we're serving, they want to be with our program, and we have some really, really dynamic leaders and program staff that work with these high school age kids. And when I first got to Anaheim and I was touring and visiting all of our after school sites, I was really intrigued by our high school and our junior high school program, they're very atypical age groups for YMCAs to have or serve in the after school time frame. So there's certainly, the staff building the curriculum, working with the kids for, having it very student-centered programming per se. So I think it's one of the very unique elements of our Anaheim Family Y.
What is next for the YMCA? What's the future? What do you foresee as far as what you got going on in the community?
I think, John, there's a number of things that I think our future is very bright. Moving forward, looking forward. But our laser focus right now is completing the final phase of our capital development or our expansion plan at the new Y complex. So we have about 4 acres of land that we have a land lease from our great partner, the City of of Anaheim. And again, as I mentioned, the 6 lighted turf soccer fields are there. So we're going to expand and build out the balance of that campus. So right now we are in a capital fundraising program to raise approximately $15 million to do just that. So I'll share with you a couple of the amenities that will find their way onto that campus. The largest structure, we're building kind of an outdoor field house. We've coined the term Airnasium. So it'll be a covered 3 multi-sport court, again, that will allow basketball, volleyball, gymnastics. There'll be 6 indoor pickleball courts.
That's big right now, pickleball.
It's big. There'll be
blowing up.
lining. So it's going to be a huge, almost a 15,000 square foot roof covered area, lighted. And so we'll have programs going on from 7 a.m. till 11 p.m. Simultaneously. We'll also expand our parking lot. Unfortunately, there's still that automobile that has to come to the campus and drop kids off. And so parking is obviously something we will address with our expansion. We're really excited. As you just mentioned, pickleball. We'll also have 6 outdoor pickleball courts. So we'll have 12. And we see pickleball as a great way to segue into our programming with older adults, seniors particularly. And that's not a group that we've really had a lot of programming with for the past 20 plus years. So
did you just call me a senior because I like pickleball?
Well, John, as you know, it's not just seniors. I've got an early 30-year-old son that plays it a couple of days a week after practice with his teammates. So we have teenagers playing it. We have 10-year-olds playing it. So it's definitely grabbed America's attention. I think the sport grew last year 39% in 1 year. So there's nothing growing as fast as pickleball.
I got to tell you, I saw on ESPN where McEnroe and those guys, they were playing a pickleball game for charity for millions of dollars, and it was interesting to see these older, obviously legends in tennis, play the sport, and I had never played it, to be honest, but I was watching the rules, how they can't step over this one line,
and you got to stay out of the kitchen, as they call it, the proverbial kitchen.
And McEnroe kept getting mad because he would step on it,
Right. Got to play by the rules, John.
And he would but it was really interesting to see how the sport is evolving as far as just marketing, right?
Massive growth in the country.
Yeah.
You're seeing more pickleball, and I've noticed this here even in Orange County, the number of fundraising events that are pickleball centered. Golf outings are maybe, I'm not saying they're going to go by the wayside, but I think pickleball has introduced another way to bring people together to fundraise and certainly have a great time.
Fundraising's big in pickleball. I recently did a fundraiser. I was supporting on a committee for a fundraiser for a high school in Santa Ana, and they did a pickleball tournament, and the gentleman who brought the idea to the table had been doing tons of them in Newport Beach. There was a whole world of pickleball tournaments, and it's huge fundraisers.
We've heard some early indicators that it may be a demonstration sport at the LA 2028 Olympic Games.
Wow.
So you can see where it'll grow globally.
Sorry, Paul keeps wanting to get a word in here. I'm sorry.
Sounds like another fundraiser for the Orange County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. How about
hey,
pickleball?
When we get these things, we'll get these courts built. You guys can be our second fundraising event. We'll bring you on as a friend.
Pickleball reminds me of when I was a kid playing handball. It's such a quick, fast, or racquetball when we were kids, but because it's so small. Let me tell you, talk about good eye and hand coordination, which is great for Alzheimer's or dementia, right?
Sure.
Me being in healthcare, that's something that ping pong helps you with a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so pickleball is just, Johnny on the spot.
I think that's one of the attractive elements of the sport. It's not that you have to cover a lot of space, especially if you're playing doubles, but you're still stepping, you're moving, and you have that hand-eye coordination. And one element as people do age, getting into their 60s, one of the correlations for trips and falls is they lose their ability to pick up their feet and plant them and regain balance. So I think you can see, great tenets that playing pickleball is a great way to live healthily and your well span, well into your, hopefully your 90s, you're still playing pickleball at the YMCA now, of course.
Well, I'll tell you what, we want to be a part of your grand opening, ribbon cutting. We want to be there the day this all launches, because it sounds like it's going to be an amazing growth in the center itself, right?
It is. And, the final couple of unique elements on the campus, we're going to be building a 5,200 square foot program center. So there'll be classrooms and multi-purpose spaces.
Wow.
There'll be a concession area, of course, storage, and a space for drop-in child watch. So families that are coming to the Y that have a youngster that isn't involved in that sport or that practice or that clinic, if you will, is a place where that child can be while the older siblings are playing a game or a match. And then the final element that we're adding to it is we're adding a athletic sports and conditioning training center. So there'll be a 4,000 square foot space. We're working with the Parisi School of Speed, which is a national, probably the number one ranked or looked upon entity to provide strength, athletic, and speed and balance conditioning for athletes, and even kids that want to go into archery or martial arts or I was going to say MMA fighting, but let's call it boxing.
Yes.
Can stand to gain some of those edges to be a better athlete and maybe have a chance to play on club level teams at the highest level of whatever their sport is, or even earn a scholarship and become a college athlete. So something that's missing in the Anaheim area. So we're really proud to bring this additional element, and it certainly ties to kids playing sports. But even that kid who's not an athlete can certainly improve their speed, their balance, and their certainly those performance elements. So it's going to be a great addition to our Y here, and hopefully we'll be having this ribbon cutting ceremony as late as December 25 or maybe January 26. So that's kind of our timeline moving forward from fundraising and our construction phase. But we could not be more excited, John, to bring this to the Anaheim region, and we think it's going to be just a real hub center of activity and something that people look for when they choose communities to live, reside, and even open up small businesses. What's in it for me besides my work life? What else can I do to enjoy life? So we think that's going to fit very well into that life formula.
Well, go ahead, Paul. You had something to...
I just got to say, pickleball, eSports, this doesn't sound like my dad's or grandpa's YMCA anymore here.
Well, and again, I want to say personally, as a Hispanic kid growing up, these after-school programs were huge for us. My dad was hardworking landscaping worker, was day and night out of the home. Having a place to go as a kid, having a safe place to go as a kid, right, kept us off the streets, away from the gangs, the drugs. The impact you're doing in the community is beyond what people realize, I think. And you mentioned something earlier today about how you're the one that has to go out and do the fundraising. So with that, Mr. Brent Finlay, I'd like to say thank you for working so hard with your team and fundraising and continuing to grow these programs, because it's not just, hey, let's go out there and have fun. There's a lot. It's an army that works hard to put all this together. So thank you for that.
No, it's our pleasure. And certainly, I would be remiss if I didn't say how important our volunteers are in every aspect of our operation, from our incredibly strong, talented board members to our youth sport coaches and assistant coaches, and volunteers that want to give back, that want to help kids in mentorship roles. So if you have extra time on your hands and you really are interested in how you can give back, we have opportunities for you. And certainly, I think that makes our work go around at the most appropriate clip, is when we have a dynamic group of volunteers integrated with a group of staff that really care about the community. That's the formula that I think is magical, in a Y setting. But I'm just very humbly grateful to be a part of it here in Anaheim.
Well, thank you for coming out to our show. 30 minutes goes by so fast, but I think we covered a lot of good information. If anybody wishes to learn more about, of course, the Y in Anaheim, please go to the website, link into all the programs, all the expansion, job opportunities, mentorship opportunities, volunteering, and we wish you all the best. Any way that we can help you, support you as a chamber, we're here for you all, and hopefully we can bring you back, or we'll take the show on the road and show the venue once it's all set up.
Let's do one live on the campus.
Let's do that, right?
That'd be fantastic.
Well, thank you for being here again, folks. Mr. Brent Finlay, President and CEO of the Anaheim Family YMCA. We appreciate everyone listening in to our community podcast show powered by the Orange County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. And please continue to follow us on Instagram, OCHCC, or on Facebook at the Orange County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce page. Paul, take it away, and we'll see you all next week again.
Well, there you have it. One more great reason to tune in each and every time. Don't miss all the members of our community, like the Anaheim Family YMCA. Right here in Orange County's only community radio station, OC Talk Radio. streaming live from our studios here at the University of California, Irvine's Beale Applied Innovation Center.